freedom's the answer. What's the question? You're listening to Ernest Hancock.
What's wrong with the world, mama? People living like they ain't got no mamas. I think the whole world's addicted to the drama, only attracted to things that'll bring the trauma. Overseas, yeah, we trying to stop terrorism, but we still got terrorists here living in the USA, the big CIA, the Bloods and the Crips and the KKK. But if you only have love for your own race,
yeah, it's the same all over and over and over again. Where's the love? It's right here on Declare Your Independence of Me, Ernest Hancock. We got Jesse Freeston. He's in, am I saying it right, Freeston? Is that how you say your last name?
That's right, yeah. Now let's see how you say Tegucigalpa.
I'm sorry, how I what?
How you say the capital of Honduras.
Okay, well, assuming I knew what it was, I'd tell you. What is the capital of Honduras?
Tegucigalpa.
Yep, see? Yep, yeah, I knew that. As far as you know. Okay, now the one thing that I want to make sure we start off, we've gone through this process, and there's a promise. We have the military coup. They take over. They come in. They say, you know what? We be in charge, and this tank says so. And the people go, well, are we going to vote? No, heck no. We just voted for you. You wanted President Guy's gone, as far as you know. So they're just a figurehead anyway. There's a whole bureaucracy and a machine and everything. That's what they're really protecting. You know, you want to take this one guy out, no problem. We took care of it for you. Now they say, well, we want to have our say. And they go, yeah, go ahead. You go over there and have a meeting. Yeah, that's a good idea. You guys go over there and you have your little town halls. You do, and all they do is they have their little minions going around, their infiltrators, and they start taking down names and find out who's standing in front of the room and giving the best speeches and all that. And all of a sudden they wake up dead. Okay, so then you go, maybe that's not working out. We'd like to have some kind of an election to keep us appeased, or we'll take to the streets again. They go, okay, fine. So we're going to have some kind of election. Did they have an election?
So no, nobody was actually asking for another election. In fact, just as that commercial that you just played talking about downsized DC, where in the United States there's a need to pass an act to get Congress people to read the bills that they're voting on. This is a perfect example of what Hondurans are going through, and that they wanted a participatory kind of democracy because they had lost all faith in the traditional political class here to represent them. So nobody thought an election was a reasonable reaction to the coup. Everybody thought, okay, this is another reason why we need to refound this country, why we need to have a constitution that people understand, respect, and actually see as their own.
So they just started doing
it in writing.
So they just started doing it on their own without any kind of, officialdom stamp of approval. They just started doing it.
Sorry, who's that?
No, the people. I'm just wondering who started.
Exactly. There was a movement. There was a grassroots movement. That brought together all these different sectors of society, saying, "No, forget it. We're starting over again." It's actually, the way they phrase it here is, we need to refound the country, or refoundation of the country, with a document that actually represents the people here.
Now, what would happen? The people that are starting to do that, you would imagine that there's a possibility of the people on the other side going, and they start going after the people. Is that what happened?
That's exactly what happened. And so what happened to the country like Honduras, where, over 70% of its trade is with one other country, the United States, is that in order for a government to be legitimate here in the eyes of the world, it only really needs the support of the United States. So the United States immediately began to support the idea of having of using this election as a way to whitewash the coup. And there's all kinds of documents that have come out through WikiLeaks that show that this was the strategy from the beginning. And so this is exactly what happened.
Damn,
and there was
WikiLeaks.
An election.
Damn WikiLeaks. This has happened with the memos and correspondence from the State Department. This had a big impact in Arab-speaking world. We just came from Yemen in the previous hour. We were talking to a gentleman there, and it's the same kind of stuff. It's the same thing going on here. It's people trying to rule the world, and because they think they can. Now, so this is known by the people that the United States is just trying to, it's the Banana Republic stuff all over again. So you go, all right. So now they're seeing that there's no credibility given to the government, whoever's in charge of it. What is the mechanism by which they think they're going to reclaim their country?
The mechanism has been, through popular people mobilization in the streets, and that's been, very heavily come down upon. Tear gas is a daily occurrence for the last 2 years in this country. Whether it's the teachers, whether it's the farmers, whether it's the students, almost every day somebody's getting tear gassed somewhere in the country for being in the streets. There's been all kinds of targeted assassinations. They haven't been targeting the most visible leaders of the movement. There's a whole history here in Central America of going after, the most visible faces of social movements, and then that creating a martyr situation where the movement grows as a result, such as the assassination of Monsignor Romero in El Salvador in 1980. So what they do is they go after, the very effective community leaders at the local levels. The teacher that everybody trusts in the community. People that don't have a national level profile, but that, their death sends an extremely strong message at the local level and really, has a really debilitating effect on the movement. So that's been really what's happened. But regardless of that, we saw the return of Zelaya after 23 months of exile for the first time, coming back to his country, legally allowed to walk in the streets. And there was, anywhere from a couple 100,000 to 1 million people there to receive him.
Okay, who's he? What do I care about him?
He was the overthrown president. He was the president that was the first one to take this idea of a new constitution and make it his own and actually push for it as a president and to push the idea of a constitutional referendum.
And then
so he was the one that was overthrown. He was the one that was overthrown. Found himself in his pajamas at an airport in Costa Rica. On June 28th, 2009.
Who was seeking his ouster? Were the people in the streets saying they didn't like him either?
Not at all. On the contrary, the people in the streets defending him.
Okay, so they defend him. The coup comes in. They kick him out. Didn't he have another president in the interim after him?
Absolutely. So through they forge the Congress itself forges a letter of resignation from Zelaya while he's in his pajamas in Costa Rica. And that afternoon, they vote in the new president, de facto president of Honduras, Roberto Micheletti.
Okay, so now let me go ahead and get this straight for the audience. We're not as hip to you as you are, man. And that's another thing. You's a good-looking white boy with blonde curly hair. You probably stick out like a sore thumb, and you're not short either. So
no, not at all. No, I'm a Viking in Mayan country here.
Yeah, so you're this is you're not hiding. Okay, let's put it that way.
No.
So what happens is they have a popular uprising with a popular president that's popularly supported. We need to redo this whole structure thing and get kind of different thing going on. Then they start fearing, hey, this is a people's uprising. They're going to go communist and do this Hugo Chavez Venezuela nationalizing business and there. We don't want to go through that again. So they pay off whoever. The military kicks him out and says, you're done. Then they put in their own guy. Then the people are going, oh, heck no. They finally said, okay, we're done with him, and the military is still in the establishment, has got their reins on, and we're in control now, and anybody opposing us, you start waking up dead. How close am I?
Mm-hmm. Right, and that climate has continued till today.
Okay.
And the whole Chavez thing has been used as a real boogeyman. I mean, if you want to talk about international influence in Honduras, there's only one country that's got military bases on Honduran soil, and it's the United States.
Okay.
Along with any number of others.
Now, when we come back, they're going to push the button on me. We'll be back in just a little bit at 33 after. Mark that down so you can know when you're coming back. 33 after. We'll be right back. Now, I tell you, this is what I want to focus in on now. Do the people know what they really want? I don't know. We're going to talk about it when we come back. And what if they got it? Would that fix it? We'll find out here on Declare Your Independence in just a little bit.